In today's episode, we are continuing our series on the Book of Revelation. We are looking at the first part of Revelation chapter 9, particularly verses 16 to 18. This passage is talking about an army of demons who come out from the abyss or bottomless pit. It's called the kings of the abyss, also known as the kings of the east. The kings of the abyss come with the power to kill 1/3 of the people on earth. This is quite a large subject, so we will be breaking it down into smaller segments in this series. So let's dive in. Revelation 9, 16 to 18, 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. 17. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. 18. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. In verse 16, John says that he saw the number of the army of the horsemen, which is 200 million. Let's just think about that for a second. This is a massive number of demons being released from the abyss, and John says that he even heard the number of them, showing how loud and powerful they were. This reminds me of another huge army, which is the largest army that the world has ever seen. It is found in Revelation chapter 20, where it says, "And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud cry to all the birds that fly in the midst of heaven, 'Come and gather yourselves together into the great supper of the Almighty.' In this vision, all the angels of God were gathered together for battle. And John heard the number of them, just like in our passage today. And the number of the heavenly army was unfathomably large. It was said to be 10,000 times greater than the number of demons in the previous chapter. So both of these armies were unimaginably huge, but one belonged to Satan and the other belonged to God. In our passage today, we only have the numbers of the demonic army given to us, but later in Revelation, we will see the number of the angelic army as well. If you remember back to Revelation chapter 5, when John saw the scroll with the 7 seals, no one was worthy to open it until a lamb was found standing, which turned out to be Jesus Christ. Then it was given to him, and he opened the seals one by one. When he opened the 6th seal, John witnessed 4 horsemen riding across the earth. These 4 horsemen symbolize judgment. The first horseman is conquest and war. The second horseman is bloodshed and bloodshed. The third horseman is famine and hunger, and the fourth horseman is death itself. We can read in Revelation chapter 6, verses 3 to 4, "And as I watched, there came out 4 horsemen, and from them came out death and Hades. And they were given power like the power of scorpions of the earth to kill 1/3 of the people on the earth through their mouths, through their tails, and through the smoke of their nostrils." In this passage, the power of the 4 horsemen is described as the power of scorpions of the earth. Now, in our passage today, the kings of the abyss also have the power to kill 1/3 of the people on earth. So it seems as though these horsemen are now going to carry out their mission and kill 1/3 of the people on earth. But wait, wasn't that already done? Didn't the 4 horsemen already kill 1/3 of the people on earth? How could there still be people alive for the kings of the abyss to kill? Well, what I believe is happening here is that the kings of the abyss are a more powerful demonic force sent from the abyss. They are coming after the 4 horsemen have already done their work. But this time, it is not through their mouths that they kill the people on earth, but through fire, smoke, and brimstone. Fire, smoke, and brimstone are often used to describe the lake of fire in Revelation chapters 14, 20, and 21. The lake of fire is where the devil and his demons go after the final judgment. So this could mean that the kings of the abyss are bringing people to the lake of fire prematurely before the judgment, during the judgment, or maybe even after the judgment. Maybe these demons are like a cleanup crew, so to speak, and they are killing those people who survived the 4 horsemen and bringing them to the lake of fire. What do you think? Please leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Now, in verses 17 and 18, John describes what he saw in a vision. He saw horses with riders dressed in shining armor. Their breastplates were made of fire, jacinth, and brimstone. Jacinth is a precious gemstone, but here it is, used to describe the shine of the armor of these horsemen. So it would seem that these horsemen were dressed in very fancy, expensive, and attractive armor. Their heads were like the heads of lions, and their mouths breathed fire, smoke, and brimstone. You may have noticed that John is repeating himself here by using fire, smoke, and brimstone again. He used this earlier to describe the power of the four horsemen. So why is he using it again here to describe the breath of the kings of the abyss? Well, in the Greek text, instead of saying fire, smoke, and brimstone, it says fire, smoke, and the breath of the abyss. So the breath of the abyss is actually a different word in Greek than fire, smoke, and brimstone. This could mean that there is something else that comes out of their mouths besides fire, smoke, and brimstone. And the breath of the abyss may contain even more destructive powers than fire, smoke, and brimstone. Think about when Jesus drove the demons out of the Gerasene demoniac. And when the demons went out, they asked permission to go to a herd of pigs, and they were granted permission. And then they all entered into the pigs and caused them to run into the sea and drown. Or think of how the Israelites in the Old Testament were complaining about not having water to drink in the wilderness. And God turned some of their complaining into biting and stinging insects, causing even more harm to the people. Could it be that the breath of the abyss contains powers similar to these? Maybe the breath of the abyss causes plagues and diseases which kill people? Or maybe it is a tormenting spirit that torments people until they die. What do you think? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What I want to point out next is that it says that the third part of men were killed by these three things. So John lists the fire, smoke, and brimstone, along with the breath of the abyss, as the three things that killed the people. However, in verse 18, it says that the people were killed by fire, smoke, and brimstone, which came out of their mouths. So what exactly is the difference between these two? Well, to me, this shows that the fire, smoke, and brimstone that came out of their mouths were simply part of the breath of the abyss. So the breath of the abyss contained all of these powers and much more. And the people were killed by the breath of the abyss, as well as by the fire, smoke, and brimstone that came out of their mouths. We know from prior chapters that the judgments of God come upon the earth in waves, and this passage seems to show another wave of judgment coming upon the earth, killing another group of people. So what does this mean for us? Well, it means that we should be ready at all times for the Lord's return. We must be ready because we do not know when it will happen. We don't know if it will happen tomorrow or in a year from now. But we do know that we must be ready at all times. In Matthew 24, when Jesus was talking about his second coming, he gave us a parable about 10 virgins who were waiting for the bridegroom, and 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. The foolish virgins were not ready, and when the bridegroom arrived, they were not allowed to enter in. But the wise virgins were ready, and they were allowed to go in with the bridegroom to the wedding feast. So we must make sure that we are ready at all times for the Lord's return. If we are not ready, we may miss out on eternal life with Him forever. So what are your thoughts on this passage? What do you think the breath of the abyss is? And what do you think it means for us today? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And please remember to share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.